I would like to say that as a kid, I enjoyed watching Tom and Jerry. However, the channel was only available and it only showed during the daytime when I was at school. I kept asking my mother to buy DVDs for the show, but she refused my request as given its violent nature. Over time, my house had gotten pretty messy. We had too many items of clothing, old boxes of stuff that we mostly didn't need. My mom finally decided to clean out the house, having me to help her. We got through a majority of the rooms and had garbage bags full of stuff to donate, and we had one room left, the media room. While the whole clean off the desk, I attempt to clean out the closet. Removing most of the clothing revealed a stack of wooden boxes at the back of the closet. Curious as I opened the box, revealing a collection of VHS tapes. A lot of great movies were in the collection, from the classic Disney movies to the Godfather trilogy to Gone with the Wind. I kept searching through the collection until I came across something that I would never expected. A copy of Tom and Jerry's 50th birthday classics on VHS. Surprisingly, the copy was unopened, still in its original case and plastic wrap. I asked my mom, "Hey mom, where did you get this from? I don't remember you buying this." My mom then got a shocked expression on her face and hung her head. She proceeded to explain that it was a gift from my aunt who was supposedly given to me on my 7th birthday. I asked why I never received this gift. Then my mom explained shortly after my birthday, my aunt was involved in a robbery. She elaborated that what two crackheads entered her home and started to take some of her belongings. My aunt woke up and noticed the two men wearing sheets over their faces. The man then ran to her and beat her senseless. Her face was bloodied and bruised, and she had a hideous black eye. There was even a claim that a lock of her hair was ripped out, and the man forced her to lay her down on her stomach and proceeded to end her own life with an axe. My aunt was discovered by my mother the next day, but she called the police, and when she waited, she looked around the house for clues. On the kitchen table was a wrapped present, with the tag indicated that the present was for me. Sure enough, the present was the Tom and Jerry VHS. My mom kept it hidden from me until I found it myself. I was horrified by the story, but I was happy that I was able to watch a cartoon that I've been interested for so long. We continued cleaning and finally finished around 5:30 p.m. or so. My mother left to go on a date with the man who is currently my stepdad. I knew that she was staying overnight, so being the only child, I had some time to myself. I played Xbox for a while, and I became quickly bored. I then remembered the brand new VHS of Tom and Jerry. I opened the packaging and took the tape out of the case, and the tape was in mint condition with the original label and rewound to the beginning. I popped the tape into and the FBI warning came up as normal. I watched the episode on the tape, and the nostalgia was intense. I hadn't watched the show very much as a kid, and the network did quit showing it a while ago. The video was rolling through smoothly, then in the middle of the second episode, the screen went black. A new title card then appeared, and it had a gray background with the shadow of the guillotine, and a red writing went "The Death of the French." I found this hilarious given my family's French decent, but of course, so I kept watching. The episode was normal, where Tom and Jerry and Nibbles were the musketeers. In the episode, the king has tasked Tom to keep up with the noise down so he could sleep, and the king said if Tom woke up, he would have Tom sentenced to death. Tom then gave a saluting gesture, and the king then went to sleep. The episode continued as usual, but something didn't seem right. I rewound the tape and looked closer. What I found was very disturbing. The violence was more detailed and gory than I would have remembered it. For example, the part where Tom used a knife to stop Jerry from running away, holding a knife on Jerry's tail instead of holding Jerry down, the knife was completely chopped out of Jerry's tail, and blood started dripping out of it. It wasn't exactly gushing, but a trail of it was created when Jerry ran away. The next shot was his tail back to normal. Events like this kept happening with the things like Tom's tail getting chopped off, Tom's eye being gouged out with the cork, and even Tom being split in half, showing a lot of graphic stuff. But of course, at the end of the episode, the king is awoken and Tom is taken for, well, you could probably already guessed it. The next shot showed Jerry and Nibbles walking down an old-fashioned French street, eating sausages and cheeses, when they heard the sound of crowd chanting. The camera goes over to Jerry's point of view, and he looks over above the guillotine. I was told by a friend that normally you would only see the blade come down and hear the loud of it bang against the wood, but then it cut back to the mice. However, this time, the blade didn't fall. Instead, it just went to a shot of Tom being brought to it by 2 guards and the king. The crowd kept yelling. I even heard faces such as, "Kill him!" and "We want blood." And I could see Tom physically becoming enraged and started resisting the guards, kicking one of them in the knee. The crowd went insane, yelling even louder, and the king yelled, "End it! Do it now!" Then the 2 men appeared dressed in old-fashioned executioner masks and all. They went out to Tom and proceeded to beat him to the ground. Upon looking closer, you could see Tom's bloody face and bruised, and the lock of hair was pulled out. After a good beating, Tom was forced to lie down inside the trap and was immediately killed. His body was still visible while his head disappeared, but then blood realistically was spewing all over. It started very strong and proceeded to drip from the neck, and the short was a close-up of Tom's body. But of course, Tom's eyes were blinking for a few seconds, and the camera zoomed out, and the blinking stopped. The shot then cut to the mice, just like in the episode Nibbles Say, "Poor, poor pussycat." And Jerry then continued eating and walking. The shot went back to the trap, which had blood all over, and from the basket, a spirit of Tom was rising up. The figure was bleached white, and Tom's eyes were blank and not blinking what I saw. The spirit rose out of the frame, and then the episode cut to static. The static lasted for about a few seconds, and now the proportion of him was playing from another episode, which Tom goes to heaven. Tom was in bleach white as his eyes were still blank, and it cut to the proportion where Tom tries to sneak into past the ticket collector. The ticket collector catches Tom and calls him horrible things that he's done to Jerry. The ticket collector said that if Tom doesn't receive forgiveness from Jerry, he will go to hell. And when the ticket collector said that Tom will go to hell, the ticket collector's voice turned too deep and demonic, and then the voice gave me chills just listening to it. The tape then went to black, and I could hear the sound, what might have been Tom asking Jerry for forgiveness, but sped up. I could hear some of the sound of the bell ringing very loudly, and a demonic ticket collector say, "I'm sorry, Tom." And then an image showed up with Tom falling down to the pit, and he was still bleach white, but this time his eyes were red with no pupils. Finally, Tom lands on the cauldron and does a very fellatio with spine-chilling scream. The devil, or Spike the dog with horns, starts laughing, but his original laugh was deepened and slowed down. The devil also used a prolonged end of his pitchfork and shoved Tom down deep in the cauldron. Instead of pushing Tom in, however, the pitchfork stabbed Tom, and all the holes created by the pitchfork were visible. Tom also appeared to have skin progressively near, to the point where he had no fur, realistic muscle. I rewound the tape at the beginning and noticed that the episode started at 11:34, and at this point I had to stop the video. I immediately ejected the tape and placed it in the case, and I placed the case on top of the desk in the media room. I had trouble sleeping that night, so I stayed up for the rest of the night playing League of Legends, hoping that I would get my mind off of the horrifying, childhood-ruining tape. About 3 a.m., I attempted to sleep again and succeeded, and the next day I decided to find the tape so I could finish the footage just out of curiosity. I looked at the desk and around the media room, but I couldn't find it. I found out that my mom donated the tape along with the others to Goodwill. I drove to Goodwill and it was already sold. It was sad that I lost such a rare tape. Fortunately, I was able to distract myself with video games and working on other projects for school that I was safe from the nightmares. However, my sleep cycle was severely disturbed for about 2 months. I was very tired and my grades dropped from A's to B's and C's. Normally, I find something like this all that disturbing, but what was very disturbing and creepy is how familiar Tom's death was compared to my aunt's death, and the fact that the episode was set in France, my family's country origin, didn't help but suppress memories. I still picture Tom's death in my head and get chills from it. My mom doesn't believe me, but I'm still hunting for the tape. When I get back, my mom will see the horror for herself. And that, my little pretties, was Tom and Jerry VHS. a Tom and Jerry lost episode creepypasta. I think that's what it's called. I'm just gonna say Tom and Jerry VHS lost VHS. I think that's just a more appropriate name. My final thoughts on this story. Well, it's been actually quite a long time since I last sat there and, touched this story. I think the last time I touched this story was around 2019, I believe. I remember I actually touched this story back then, and I have to say this story was definitely something. Like, this story honestly really was quite something when I first saw this story. Now, I've seen a few narrations of this story, and I have to say this story was definitely messed up, and this one was it was definitely something. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this story was definitely something. Like, it was a pretty messed up Tom and Jerry story. Now, the other one I did was Tom's Basement, which I did that not too long ago. That one was definitely messed up. But in this matter, though, I really found this one to be just as much messed up as I originally thought it was messed up. Which I definitely have to say, the fact that, even though the story itself is a bit cliched, but it's still a pretty good, damn good, concept for what the story really is. The story did have a great concept with it. The grammar was pretty good. The story, obviously, everything about this story was just flat out good and amazing. I really do find this story to be enjoyable for what this is. There's definitely great concept with this story. I really do find this one to be amazing. I really found this story to be amazing and enjoyable. So I definitely have to say this story definitely has a pretty good enjoyable concept. Despite the fact that there were a few cliches in this story still is pretty good. I definitely would have to say that this story honestly provided pretty good detail, and I really do find this one to be enjoyable. It's a very enjoyable story, and I really have to say that I really do like how this one went out. Like, to be completely and utterly honest, I really do find this story to be pretty good. So, yeah. I definitely have to say that this story actually provided pretty good detail in that. I really do find this one to be, even though it's still cliched at some parts, I still find this story to be enjoyable. Like, I really like how this story went pretty good. I actually see that this is actually, it's an old pasta, so there's that. It's definitely an old pasta. I think this was written, I believe in 2014 or something. I'm not really sure when this was written. Probably 2014 or 2015. No, wait. Maybe 2013. Well, yeah. Probably 2013 or something. I know this is like an old pasta, but I still really like how it has a great, concept of an episode. I know that if this was even shown, they would get banned. But to be honest, I really do see, this being the case, but it would be more kid friendly, to be honest. I really do. I'm gonna be saying this, that it actually provided pretty good detail with the whole concept and the story. I really do find this story to be amazing. I really loved how this story was enjoyable for what it is. There's definitely lots of time and effort into the story. I definitely really have to say that the story actually provided pretty good detail when it came to the story. So I really do like how this went out. It's fantastic. It's amazing. I really do appreciate how this story went out. It's pretty good and well made in detail. I definitely really found out that when I actually narrated this the first time, I noticed how messed up this story is. And this story was messed up too, not gonna lie. This story was messed up in its own way, but it's still a good one. I'm definitely saying that. It's still a pretty good story for what this is. Really have to say that this story provided a really good detail for how this story went out. It's a really well-made, detailed story. Really have to say that I really do find this story to be enjoyable. It's well-made. Really do find this to be a pretty interesting pasta. Definitely really like this of how it all went out. It's a pretty good pasta. Really have to say this pasta was definitely something. So, I guess with that being the case and with that being said, I guess I'm going to sit there and, kind of wrap up the review. So, I'm gonna sit here and say this right now, and like always continue to say, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is just simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story would have to be I'm gonna give this one a 10 out of 10. Even though it's a little cliched, it's still a pretty good story. It's a very good creepypasta. Definitely really know that this story has some time and effort into it. I definitely would have to say that I really do like how this went out. It's amazing, really well done, and yeah, I actually really recommend you read this story if you haven't. It's a pretty good one. You can always find this one on the regular Creepypasta Wiki. So anyways, with that being the case, that being said, what did you guys think about this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what would you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so then you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro, because I'm out.